So in this video I just wanted to cover off how to delete an object, also how to delete an object graph, and how to sort of deal with referential integrity issues, I guess. So I think in the orders table there is a key between the order and the order details, and there's also obviously references, relationships with the product and category. So there's nothing that I can delete easily. So what I'm going to do is probably just delete the order. So there is one function you can use here that will just will execute a delete statement, and it's fairly simply called delete. You can actually specify that at the orders level. There is another function which is the equivalent. You pass through the order here, and that will do effectively the same thing. So either or, and this will obviously just call delete where the ID is the order ID. So what we do is I'll just test this out. So if we create an order here, or select an order, and we run delete, what's going to happen? Okay, we're going to get an issue, and basically it's a referential foreign key relationship issue. So what we can do, obviously in that situation you do want to delete the details anyway, but assuming the relationship wasn't there, this would execute fine. We should actually be able to see this statement that's executed in here anyway. So we can see delete star from where order ID is equal to that. However, we do need to delete the details. So we can wrap that up in a transaction. Just do a simple transaction here, local transaction. And call delete. And we also need to delete all the details as well. So there's a couple of functions that we can use, but there is a what we'll do is just add a function here called delete all, which will actually go and delete those objects from the database. Now there is a volatile object delete all, but because it's volatile, that means it's actually not gonna delete in memory, and then when you call save will it actually do the deleting. But what we want to do here is delete it in the database. So there's an objects delete all here, and obviously that will apply that filter that we've specified for the order. So then we can effectively just call that here, delete all. There is another alternative. You could call base.parent database and pass through this .details, and these two lines are actually equivalent. So sometimes it's not, you don't want to necessarily create a function in there, but I think it's an either or. You can sometimes you might want to do some validation or checking here before you do any deleting. So they do effectively work the same way. I think internally here we'll actually call the same function. So we can delete the details and then delete the actual object and commit that. So if we run that now, we can see that we've done a delete all the details and delete all the orders. So we've essentially deleted our object graph. So it does require you to call those functions, but I think I know some tools don't sort of automate that, but I think it's better to be explicit about this. So that's essentially it. The other thing you can do, like for example, if you wanted to see if a product is being used, then you might want to have a function called canDelete or something like that, which is typically going to return false because you're using that product. But if, for example, you've just created a new product and you wanted to delete that, you could have a function like this, and that would return true because you haven't actually referenced it via an order or something like that. So in this situation here, sometimes it's useful to have this, particularly at the user level. So you want to say that you cannot delete this product because it's in use. So in that situation, what I do is do a simple select statement. Select and just go through those tables where it's actually being used. So we say select where. Probably want to add a table. We want to probably look in the orders table where the product ID, no, order details table, the product ID is equal to this distinct value, which will be the product ID. And we want to see if there's actually a record there. So if there is or isn't, then we return true or false. So we can execute that via a connection scope. Can't remember what it's called. And pass to a database and just execute that. We could probably just make that a count. We can add in a field here called fields. Just select the count field. The name will just be empty, but it's using the count function. And we can just execute scalar and execute statement and return count equals 0. Need to cast that. We'll just convert it. So if we hop back to our program, we can now effectively check if that product can be deleted. Products. And we should get a false. Okay, great. So that's pretty much it. That's what I really wanted to show you. It's pretty simple, but there's just a few tips and tricks there.